KingJ.
Disney's Illusion Island, any percent, no infinite walkling, that's short for IWC. It'll be run by KingJ. Take it away.
Alright, hello everybody, my name is KingJ0444, and this is Disney Illusion Island. This is a Switch exclusive game, came out very recently, in July 28th of this year. And this is the first time this is ever being shown off at a marathon, which I think is very fitting. With me, I have a fellow runner of the game, Puffy. You want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I am Puffy. I also speedrun this game. But I am much worse at it than Joey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, by the way, my name's Joey. People call me that, so you can call me whatever you want. And then I'm very excited to introduce the other two commentators, and I think it's best if you two introduce yourselves and what you actually did for this game. Oh, okay, apparently they can't hear one of the developers. Liam, do you want to introduce yourself?
I think it's me.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to do all the heavy lifting then. My name's Liam. I'm a game designer at Delilah Studios, and I was one of the game designers on Illusion Island. So I did enemy design, level design, and sort of general design stuff. A little bit of everything, really.
Awesome. So yeah, while we wait for John Evans' mic to get fixed, yeah, so it's very awesome for me. I've never had this before, but we have two developers on call for this. Very nerve-wracking for me, but we're also getting to hear some developing history and facts about this game, which specifically me and Puppy have come up with questions. And if anybody in the chat has any questions about this game as well, you can go ahead and ask them, and we'll try to answer them to the best of their abilities. So yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna wait for a all clear on if they can hear us. But yeah, this is we have two different bid wars, and I want to thank everybody for donating towards those. We raised, I think, a total of over $300 for this game alone through the bid wars, which is crazy. And I think we're doing most likely, unless there's like a last-minute snipe, but it seems like that's not the case. We're doing Minnie as the character and no IWC as the category, which is the basically no major glitches category. I'll still show off IWC after the run because I want to show it off and show what it can do. But yeah, seems like that's gonna be. Oh,
Can you? Hello. Okay, excellent. Hello, my name is John Evans. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I was a senior programmer on Illusion Island. I did like a lot of movement stuff, like running, jumping. Yeah, like most of the movement-related stuff, and also like boss fights. And yeah, that's me.
awesome. It's an honor having you guys both on here to watch this. So this is gonna be cool. Yeah, so I think we're pretty much good to go. So I'll give you guys a countdown. The time is a little weird. We're gonna start on first input. So I'll just give you like a 3, 2, 1, go. So wait for the game to load.
Excellent Mickey Mouse symbol loading screen spinning. That's really awesome.
Also, in case I didn't mention it, I hold world record for both the two categories. I'm fancy like that. Anyhow, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, there we go.
It's a delayed go.
It's okay if it was a little off. Anyhow, I do not play as Minnie. We usually use Mickey for this run, like top runners do, because he is the fastest character. Just because of where you spawn after cutscenes, he spawns farther ahead than any of the other characters. But everything else is just cosmetic. Everybody else plays the same.
Yeah.
starting off, you're going to be seeing me jumping a lot. Our jumping speed is a little bit higher than just our regular running speed. So jumping and bunny hopping is going to be the main source of movement.
Yeah, you can kind of tell whenever Joey jumps, it looks like Minnie sort of lurches forward a bit. Ever so slightly, so...
And trying not to get hit, too.
Yeah, that's also important.
Well, he actually can get hit no matter what, because he's on the, what we call the infinite health, part. This allows us to get hit a bunch of times without ever dying once. However, that is not available in the new Iron Mouse mode.
Yeah, it's basically a permadeath mode, which we are not using.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone has done a run of Iron Mouse yet, but I could.
I want to. I definitely want to.
Yeah.
Alright, so the skips are going to begin. Like I said, this is kind of, I think I mentioned this, but this run starts off kind of linear. But now we're going to be getting our first ability, which is Boost Jump, which we're going to use to actually skip some jumps that we normally would do. So yeah. So the first question I actually wanted to ask you guys was about because your team has actually worked on Battletoads 2020 before this. I wanted to know what it was kind of like going from working on that to doing a game with an established, like, a really big IP like Disney.
Oh, that's a big question. Yeah, it was. I was actually talking to AJ about this today. Like, this felt like a lot more focused for me. Like, there was, like, since the beginning of the thing, that we definitely felt like we were all more focused in terms of, like, vision and execution on this one. Like, everybody was kind of, we knew what we wanted. We definitely had the direction, and then, you know, we took our time, like, with the, Liam, remind me, what was, like, the pillars for this one again? The design pillars?
Sort of, it was, like, distinctly Disney, definitely Kalala, something like that, and playing as a cartoon, like it feeling like a playable cartoon, and then kind of probably one of the biggest ones to design was Autumn Alone Better Together. Like, we really wanted a game that didn't feel like it was diminished when you played it in multiplayer, because, you know, there's amazing platformers out there that are multiplayer, but it sort of feels like you're getting the best experience when you're not there with your friends, particularly kind of open world platformers. So we really like to make sure that this was something that was, like, even more fun when there were other people playing. And it's kind of the design philosophy that kind of trickled down to everything else in the game.
Yeah, like, and the joy of movement was definitely, like, you know, a big focus throughout development. I mean, since, like, even before animations came in, it was like just getting, like, a block on the screen to, like, feel good while you're, like, moving and, you know, changing direction. And then I mean, we work, like, Eric, our animation lead, I mean, he's absolutely fantastic. I mean, he's worked on everything from, like, he's worked on, like, on Earthworm Jim, and what was, like, the other title, like, Neverwood? Yeah. So, like, the guy's got, like, a ton of experience. So as soon as, like, the animations start coming in, like, you know, visuals and the feel of the game started coming together. Yeah.
And sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that actually brings me to my question here. I absolutely adore the art and visuals of this game. I would like to know, were there any challenges sort of incorporating the sort of art style and, like, this beautiful environment within the game?
That's definitely one for you, Jess.
I feel like, yeah, from a tech point. So I can speak to, I mean, I can't really speak to like the art direction and how the choices and things were made for that. But like from the implementation side, like from the beginning, we knew we wanted an open world game, and we knew we wanted to have it running at 60 frames per second on the Switch. And it being seamless meant we couldn't have like large textures and things in it. I mean, if you look like at the game, like like Rayman Legends, like there's like a lot of similarities between the two, like in terms of the visuals, but we kind of the direction we chose was to do everything with meshes. So everything you actually see, well, not everything, but like most of this level is constructed out of meshes. It's not sprites. So all of this, like it was actually authored like in Unity using the spline tool, and then we convert all of that to meshes during build time. So everything is meshes and not sprites, even though it looks kind of like painted.
I will say,
that's what
you definitely had me fooled. I absolutely thought these were like sprites and not meshes.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you can see like, I mean, I think the thing that really sells it is like, is the line work, because that just makes it look drawn, but like all of that is like, it's all meshes. Things that are sprites on the screen now is things like the enemies, the checkpoint, like anything like that's clearly like hand drawn and kind of like swaying. But most of the static stuff is it's meshes.
Yeah, and by the way, it's something that just is going on in the speedrun. Like I said, we're using boost jump to kind of like skip ledge grabbing and stuff like that on things, and as you can see, we're like using it to reach, like when you boost jump, you get a little bit of a higher like hitbox, so we use that to reach places we normally wouldn't be able to with just a regular jump. And so we did that a few times during those key sections where we had to split up to like 3.
Yeah, a lot of the movement optimizations in this game are basically just like, we're gonna jump a little further than the devs may have intended, and we're just gonna cut off like this small section.
Yeah, so like right here, we're going to just do a boost jump here to reach that bounce pad. So yeah, just small things like that adds up over the course of this run. It's very optimization heavy, especially in a category like no IWC, where there's not like a big glitch that we do that saves a lot of time.
Absolutely.
And yeah, the big thing here, we just unlocked Wall Cling, which is the most broken ability in the game for the other category. But we're actually going to try to avoid using it as much as we can, just so we can save a few, like, half seconds every now and then. Like right here, we're just going to skip over going there, just hop up there like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, small things like
as
that, you can pick out.
As much as we can? Well, you're saying we're using it?
We will use it.
Yeah, we will use it, obviously.
But we're not using it at all.
That is true. Don't worry, we will use it. I promise. We will do some things Dev intended. Oh, yeah, like falling down there. Oh, like falling down there again. Come on now, get up there.
The only way to progress it is if you actually fail that wall jump 3 times.
That is true.
I did that to progress otherwise.
I did that just for you guys.
There's actually a very interesting quirk about the wall cling. In this game, there are assist options, which are obviously always welcome for younger audiences or people who potentially can't play video games as well. But one of those options is the fact that you won't slide down with the wall cling. We use that in IWC to perform infinite wall cling. But a neat quirk of not having that turned on is actually when you jump onto a wall, you slide up slightly, and we might be seeing that be utilized if Joey goes for the jump in Gizmoopolis.
I am not.
Okay. We're just
I
gonna
only do that
go
with IWC. Puffy found a
Okay.
strat where you can skip going like the intended way to go get a key, and instead you can go the way that you would normally come out from. It saves about 20 to 30 seconds, but it's really annoying to do without IWC. I do it with it, but not without it.
Yeah, I will point out where that skip is when we get there, but that's not going to be for fit.
Also, here's our one map piece we're gonna get in the run.
But yeah.
So something else we should mention too is, like I said, I'm going to show off IWC at the end of the run, like after the run's done, because it is really cool, and I want to show it off for people who are interested. It's the only major glitch that we have in this game, and it was found day one by just someone on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of... We have two separate categories, any % unrestricted for any glitches that we find in the future, and any % no IWC, which will probably be changed to any % glitchless.
Yeah, I have been currently hunting a couple other glitches. Namely, there is an interesting quirk in the game where if you go to the home menu, the game actually continues like running for a couple seconds. So when you open it back up, like it looks like your character just like teleports a bit. And one of the interesting things I found is that sometimes in certain scenarios, if you do that, your character will just slide across the floor for no reason. And it's extremely hilarious.
Yeah, what did you call it? Did you call it the Mickey or something?
I call it hitting the Mickey.
Yeah, that was...
You're hitting the Mickey!
What a dumb way to name that.
Boy, I can't wait to hit the Mickey!
Yeah,
that's my terrible. That's my terrible Mickey impression. By the way,
I knew you were
might
gonna do
hear
it.
That.
You warned me you were gonna do it. You prepared me.
I warned you.
Yeah,
interesting.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think there's a way of getting between those two platforms to get to that key.
Oh, really?
It's really weird. Like lots of the ways that we like, because obviously you play test this so much, and sometimes you just got to get to areas faster, and like there's some strategies that like we used internally that like it's like, oh, that's definitely not the fastest way. Like you found much faster ways. There's some others where it's like, oh.
I will say it's been very funny when I post my my speedruns on Twitter, when I get new world records and stuff like that, and seeing the developers tweet about it. It means a lot.
Yeah, and I'm actually pretty proud of it as well, since I was the one who actually, like, you know, got this to make this into a speedrun in the first place.
Yeah, I learned from your first run, and then quickly came up with like some new strats and stuff like that.
Also, while we're kind of in the process of doing it, I will say a lot of the common sort of path we take is we go up some linear pathways for a bit, and then a lot of the time the area tends to split out into several branches, each one with like a key, and we have to get those keys to unlock a door, as you saw earlier. And then usually there's a more open pathway, but we usually just take the linear route. That's how most of this run tends to go.
Also, we should mention, by the way, we go by in-game time in this run as the main timing method. So I will check my in-game time at the end of the run. The world record for no IWC sits at just under 2 hours, which is kind of crazy, because at first we only thought with IWC we'd get 2 hours, but I had like an insanely good run before this event, and I managed to get a sub 2 with it, or without it.
Yeah, Joey's kind of cracked at the easy games.
What does that mean? Again, doing everything perfectly and like making sure your optimizations are a thing for this. Oh, whoops! I say as I fail this jump. There we go. Make sure you're optimizing all your movements and stuff like that for 2 hours. It's a lot harder than it may seem.
Yeah.
We're gonna have
another thing is
backtracking here, by the way.
this is definitely the infinite health is definitely, in my opinion, one of the better categories to run, purely because you don't have to worry about micromanaging health constantly. But for all intents and purposes, like, if you wanna speedrun with like 1 heart, go ahead. I'm not stopping you. I'm just saying that it's going to be very fun.
To be fair, they're actually, so me and Electric Man here are actually moderators for this game. We're the 2 moderators. And, oh, okay, I tried to go for a skip there. You can skip wall jumping by getting the slide up, but I didn't, unfortunately. Saves about 1 second. We were actually, I'm thinking about possibly making it a separate category where it's non-invincible hard, just because it would make for some interesting more strats. You actually have to be careful. You're going to see much later on that I just tank 20 hits in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
and then there are also a couple strats where we intentionally take damage to wall jump off of like a spiked wall or something like that.
So like having to actually like watch out for your health and also possibly death warp in the run would be kind of cool. Yeah, there's also Iron Mouse mode, which is me. That's the back category.
Yeah. So right now we're just heading all the way back to where we started, because we just got a key card that basically allows us to open those eyeball doors. Not sure why they have eyeballs on them. Is there like a lore reason for that?
Or maybe they want to scan your card.
I guess.
Yeah, but I guess they're like readers.
Yeah, are the eyeballs connected, or? I just find it odd. Like, whose eyeballs do they have to take for those to install those doors?
I don't think they're taking anyone's eyeballs. I did that. Anyhow, I was going to ask a question before we got talking about eyeballs, though. Was like, what is it? What has it been like to like these people taking interest in your game as a speedrun and stuff like that? Even if that wasn't the intent, like, is it like interesting, or you feel offended that people are rushing through your game that you worked really hard on?
Oh no, not at all.
Okay,
like quite
good.
the opposite. Like I absolutely love like watching this, you know, like, and if you find something like, especially like for IWC, is because the thing is, like, we literally sit there and, you know, somebody will find a bug, like one of our, you know, testers will find a bug, and you try your best to kind of like try and reproduce that. And sometimes like these things have got like very, very low like reproduction rate, so you kind of have to sit there and, you know, try really, really hard for this thing that happens like once every like 10 tries, and then, you know, try and debug that and try and figure out like exactly what's going on. And you write all this code and you think, okay, I've done it now, like it's like this thing is fixed. Like nobody's gonna clip through a wall, nobody is gonna like slide up a wall infinitely, and the next moment, you know, you see this on a live stream, you're like, oh, okay, this person managed it. Like the IWC for me is like absolutely amazing that, you know, that was figured out and so quickly as well. Like I think like walking is definitely one of the things in this game that is, I like. You know, it's had like a few iterations in terms of, you know, refining it and making it feel good. There was like a kind of, what was it? I don't want to say incident, but you know, we fixed like tech fixed the bug, or what we thought were like bugs, and then you know, a week later, design came back to us. It's like, why does this feel so crap now? And we're like, what? We fixed it. Like we made this thing like we made it like you know, better. And we're like, no, it's worse. And then we had to kind of figure out and like basically put back what we thought was like, you know, buggy behavior, but, you know, do it properly just to get the feel right. Like the thing was, if you do L wall jump, like you don't have to put in direction, you can just start jumping, and like even if you're holding the wrong direction, it will still do a zigzag up the wall. And that was something we fixed. It's like, oh, we shouldn't do this, like you should have like the right direction, but you know, it just didn't, you know, feel right. Like so yeah, it's yeah, it definitely it's interesting for me, especially like seeing you guys like find these things, because
Yeah.
Wouldn't expect it to be in there.
We were worried because when we found IWC and I started actually like no one used it for a while because it was like it's really hard. Like, it's pretty precise but like so I'm the only one. There's 2 people in the world who have done a normal any % run, and it's me and someone else. I forgot that I'm doing any % no IWC for a second. But yeah, so only 2 people have done with IWC, and it's me and one other person who hasn't submitted. And when I said that I was doing this run and that developers are going to watch me do it, I'm just like, oh no, they're going to patch it.
Yeah.
No, I always think there's this. I always think there's like when it comes like you don't like if there's like bugs and like exploits in your game, like the way I kind of picture it is like you don't want a situation where like someone like on their first playthrough is going to stumble across it and they'll learn how to do it and they won't have as much fun as they might playing the game, you know, without that exploit. But if it's something that, you know, they're kind of looking for the exploit or they're really good at the game and like you say, like it's something that requires a lot of like skill and precision, like what's the harm in them doing that? I just think that enhances the fun rather than takes away from it.
I definitely agree with that.
I very much agree with that.
There are so many games with like fun glitches and exploits that just get patched out, and then honestly sometimes makes the gameplay feel worse. And
Also, Puppy, do you want to mention this? Because this is your thing now.
yeah, so normally right here, if Joey did what I like to unfortunately call McKee skip.
I hate it so much.
Because I only make the best names for tricks. But basically,
And that's why we call it doing the Mickey.
but yeah, basically by using a very precise wall jump and a boost jump, you can actually climb up this vertical area that Joey just dropped down from, and basically grab the keys in pretty much the reverse order that Joey's doing.
And I do that in IWC, but that's because with IWC you only need to do one of them in order to make it, so it makes the strat a whole lot easier to go for. If you fail it, it loses about like 20 seconds each time you mess it up, but total I think it saves both. So
yeah,
it's something that I should be implementing, and it's a good way to save time off my world record, but it's very risky to go for.
Yeah, and then like I said, in no IWC, because you can't do IWC, you have to rely on that small little upward slide the wall cling gives you when you don't have wall cling assist. So that's what makes it so hard.
Yeah, and by the way, we haven't mentioned this, but you can actually use wall cling assist and jump boost assist in the glitchless category. It doesn't
You just can't
do anything
do the
else.
IWC.
It's usually slower to have it that way, yeah.
Yeah, like, the thing is, well, like, it's a glitch for where you use it, like, that's definitely, because I would argue, like, you actually just, you know, super quick with your inputs, because the thing, like, with IWC is, we actually, like, apply, when you jump away from a wall, like, we apply, like a lot of gravity, like, really quickly, so to kind of like force you to go down, like, so the margins you're like operating in to actually go up the wall is like, I mean, it's a couple of frames. It's so tight. I can't believe like you can actually pull that off.
It is very tight, and it actually makes it so that I have to, in order to do it, I actually remap my controller on the Switch to make it a little bit easier. So I'll explain how I do that when I show it off later, but. Yeah, that is a thing that most of us do who actually use it. We remap our buttons so that we can just input 1 or 2 buttons back and forth.
Yeah, and right now we are in our first boss of the game, Post Officer.
I like to name these bosses based off what you do, so I call this the Switch boss.
The Nintendo Switch boss.
Yeah, we're fighting the Nintendo Switch.
But a common theme with all the bosses in this game is they are basically platforming challenges that like to utilize the abilities you got in that sort of section in this game. So here, Post Officer mainly utilizes your ability to, you know, wall jump and boost jump. you'll be seeing a lot of here in order to get these switches. I will say the bosses are a really fun part of this game because like they're just a neat recontextualization of all the platforming you've been doing up to that point. So I will say major props for the boss design.
Yeah, this boss specifically is really cool to optimize because as you're seeing, like again, using the boost jump, we can actually make our height a little bit different. So by doing that, we can get to some buttons that we normally wouldn't be able to.
I want to say, yeah, that AJ was worth it.
Yeah, huge props have to go to the lead designer Grant Allen, who basically I think he designed every boss in the game, and like very much his kind of like the guide that he kind of followed was he talked about we really didn't like those games, and it happens loads in platformers where like you get to a boss and the boss has some mechanic you literally never seen before, and so it's either so simple because it has to introduce the mechanic and then test you on it straight away, or it's so hard because it's hard for you to learn a completely new skill. And we were like, look, this is a game that's about platforming, like the bosses, which should be they're almost like your end of year exam boss. Like they should be the most tricky challenge. It's like, well, everything that the player's been getting better at throughout the level.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So actually, one funny thing I did just realize is I'm pretty sure there's no boss that utilizes the ground pound that we will be actually getting pretty soon. We just have this one section to go.
Also, I completely gave misinformation earlier. I 100% forgot that I didn't get a sub 2 with no IWC. I don't know why I thought I did.
Wow, lying to boost his own ego.
I was thinking of the old any percent world record that I had before the 155 that I currently have. But I think it's I think no IWC world record. I want to say it's a 206 is what I think it's currently at. Could be wrong. It's either 206 or 203. I know those are very drastically different.
Alright, so while we're heading down here to collect some more keys for another door, I would like to ask, what inspiration did you take for like how you designed the platforming challenges in this game? Because I'm curious, because to me they feel like very Celeste inspired in a way. But I want to know what you guys think.
It's really interesting. Like, so much of it was based on like the principle of like because it's you don't see so much of it like watching the stream because it's single player, but so many of the challenges that we originally came up with, like basically during early on when we were developing, we just tried everything, like different mechanics, like different features, different moves, like we just tried a lot, and basically we try them, we go, yeah, it's really good, that feels really great, and like it's a really good challenge, and then we try it in like 2-player and be like, oh, that's great, and then you like work up and eventually get a 4-player and you'd be like, that is really good for the first player, but then it kind of sucks for the 4th player because they're not getting to experiencing it. So like Celeste, it does have a lot of things that are kind of like rhythm and timing based, and that was largely because it felt like that was going to provide the same challenge for every player in multiplayer.
Honestly, I haven't had the luxury of being able to play this game in multiplayer, but I can definitely see a good amount of like that. Will it feel fun for 1? Will it feel fun for 2? Will it feel fun for 3, for 4? Sort of in that design. It's like a lot of these rooms also, like as we can kind of see here, like feel like, yeah, we can have like people split up here and there, each with their own little like tasks to keep them engaged with the game. But I can definitely see that in its design.
Yeah, I still have yet to play this game co-op, but I am interested to see what that's actually going to look like, because we do have separate speedrun categories for multiplayer. No one's done them yet, though, so that's going to be really cool to see someone try that out and route that out.
Yeah.
It used to be that it was definitely faster in multiplayer. You kind of change. You see, like every now and then the camera gets taken away from like the player and like locks onto this area. Like I think about halfway through development, we kind of changed how that worked. It used to be the camera would return to whichever player left that room first, and what that meant was the quickest thing you could do is get basically 3 people to go, or like one person to go collect the key, and the other person to stay by the door basically, and then leave as soon as the key had been fetched.
And you can definitely see that too in some areas where it's just like, yeah, one person would go do this challenge, the other person would leave immediately when it's done, yeah. Yeah, that would definitely be really cool to see someone do that. As of right now, there hasn't been a run of that. The main category that people are running is this category, no IWC, because it's basically the 80% no major skip, so it's like the easiest category to get into. I missed that jump. But as I say that,
I love how every time you mention like it's the easiest category, you like mess something up.
yeah, I'm going for these small optimizations though. So
every copy. No, I just like to believe every copy of Disney Illusion Island is personalized.
it's personalized. Yeah. And right here, we're going to get up there. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna have to do. Try to make this cycle, which was a little, like, doing that in one cycle was a little hard.
Yeah. A lot of, Gizmoopolis especially, is a lot of, cycle-based platforming, especially these moving platforms. So a lot of, like, movement in Gizmoopolis is just trying to make those platform cycles.
Yeah, we actually saw a damage boost strat earlier where I skipped an entire key puzzle by just damage boosting. And that, ironically, was found very early on. I didn't use it because I didn't know it existed. And someone posted it in Discord, and I was like, wait, you can do that? So that just saved like 15 seconds off my runs.
Yeah. We did mention that we do have a Discord, and you are welcome to join at any time if you want to run the game or not want to run the game, just want to hang out. We are having a movie night on Saturday, so look forward to that.
Right there, we just met the best character in the game, Uncle Steve. He is great. If you play this game, you'll know why. He's such a big goofball, only rivaling the namesake of goofiness, Goofy.
I'm sorry in advance.
Worse, Mickey.
That was not
okay. That was slightly better. Disney Illusion Island.
I was actually expecting Goofy to win or Donald, just because they have, in terms of cosmetics, Donald has the silliest cosmetics, like using a plunger for the wall cling and stuff like that. So I was totally expecting him to win, but I will happily take Minnie. I haven't played as her yet, so this is my first time actually using her in the game.
I've always enjoyed how like each character gets their own specific theme for like their abilities. It's like Mickey's stuff is like mostly references to the cartoon, if I'm recalling it right. Whereas like Mickey's, I said Mickey. Minnie's are a lot more like, I don't know, a lot more girly, I'd say. That's not really good.
Wow,
that
sounded horrible.
Okay, I'm describing this very wrong, but you get the idea. Like, it just adds another level of charm to this whole game that I really enjoy.
But like I said, like Donald gets to use a plunger, Goofy gets to use a mustard tube, which is the funniest thing in my opinion.
Oh yeah, Goofy's abilities are the best, in my opinion.
I used Donald in my first one, so.
I believe in my first playthrough I used a combination of Mickey and Goofy. When you guys playtested this game, what characters did you use?
It was always Minnie for me. I think because my favourite move in the game is wall jump. I think it just feels really good in the hand, and the sound effects on Millie's like climbing pit are just like so on point. Like huge props to Sam, I think, who did those sounds. They just sound great.
Yeah, it does get a little repetitive when you're doing IWC, I will say.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because you have to hear it over and over. So now we're backtracking again. Thankfully, we don't have to backtrack as much to go back to Terrarium Town, just because of the fact that we're gonna unlock the balloon warps. Yeah, the teleporters. Which there's a few of them in the game, and this is the main one we're gonna be using.
Yeah, I really like their inclusion, especially because you don't unlock the fast travel of this game, like the main one, until practically the tail end of it. So these teleporters are definitely nice to just not have to like constantly go back and forth between the same areas you've treaded.
So
usually
now
you'll still have to do like one back and forth per section, but it's not so much that it gets like annoying or repetitive.
or tedious, yeah.
Yeah.
I should also mention, so there is, this game is separated into two main categories, which is any percent, 100%. No one's ran Hundo yet. I have no idea how long that category is going to be. I've been saying it's probably going to be around, I want to say 5 hours.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah. And then we have some miscellaneous categories, like all tokens and stuff like that, so you only collect certain things. But yeah, I'm personally going to start working on routing 100% after I do 1 or 2 runs of Iron Mouse mode. I don't know how long it's going to take to route it, but it'll probably be a little bit.
Yeah, the fun part about routing 100% is there's a lot of areas where like you just don't have like the required ability, or more prominently, you don't have the camera, which we skipped over the cutscene where we got the camera, but basically throughout the game, there's like in the background these hidden Mickey symbols. You have to take a picture of every one of those for 100%, and that includes some areas you only visit at the beginning of the game. So that's going to be fun, along with the aforementioned fact that we only get the fast travel of this game like at the very end of it.
Also, this is my chat's favorite part of the game, so this is an unskippable cutscene. The chat loves the worm every time.
Worm supremacy.
Yeah, this game actually is, for speedrunning, actually very, like, you don't really get much downtime, because you can skip most cutscenes, but there are 3 cutscenes in the 90% run that we can't skip, which are the books, and they each take about 30 seconds long. So, because of that, we get a nice little breather.
Luckily, this game isn't like, you know, something like Super Mario Bros. Where you have to, like, constantly be doing brain-perfect inputs. It's, all in all, really, like, calming speed game. Like, you won't get stressed at all, probably, while running this. I can't speak for everyone, obviously, but in my personal experience, like, it's just a fun time all around.
Also coming up here is, this is Terrarium Town, so this is where the 2 categories deviate, any percent unrestricted and no IWC. So using IWC, we can skip 2 major sections and save about 10 minutes of the run. The first instance is going to be in Terrarium Town. We could skip getting a set of keys and just go straight to get the
Swing ability.
The swing ability. We call it swing early. And then after that, we can actually IWC over the door you would normally need the work permit for. And so because of that, that saves another like 6 minutes because we skipped getting the work permit. And that makes it basically skips 90% of Terrarium Town.
Yeah, you basically skip like all of the story progression in Terrarium Town with IWC. Like, you just grab swing early, dip, and then progress the story without going to the other area first. But since we're not allowed to use that, we get to actually do the story stuff here.
Yeah, when I show off IWC after, I'm going to be showing it off on the door, just because that's where you have to do the most IWC, and it's the most apparent skip in the game.
Yeah.
Also, nice to get there. I got ledge grapplers. That's awesome.
Let's go.
Giving like 1 frame.
I mean, hey, listen. Who knows? Maybe that 1 frame could be a new world record right here, right now.
And for the most part, like I said, there aren't too many differences between the 2 categories, but this is like the biggest change. So I'll point it out here because coming up here is where the actual where we would do swing early is. You only need to do about, I want to say, like 5 or 6 IWCs to do swing early, so it's not too bad. The biggest issue for people running this category is the second IWC with the door.
Yeah. And while we're on the track to get my personal favorite ability to swing, I want to ask the devs, what ability was the most fun and least fun to design and program?
Liam, do you want to go first, or?
Yeah, sure. Most fun, probably ground pound, because like used to get a lot in this area, though it's mainly in Old Town, which I think you mainly skip over. But there's lots of stuff you can do where you can set up like little simple puzzles to like in multiplayer, like allow you to like give someone else access to like a route. So the rooms in with that ability, and you can really like do them much faster if you're working together. So that was really fun. I would probably say like the grind rails are the hardest, just because it's quite hard to kind of create like platforming sections where it's not just one person pairing off and leaving all the others behind, but you've got to make the rails quite short.
Just so you know, grind rails is not actually an ability, it's just a mechanic in the game.
Yeah, they just meant which one was harder to implement though more.
Yeah. I will say, the grind rails are definitely something I really enjoy, but I do definitely see the issue when it comes to like 4 players.
Also, this part right here, like I said, we would normally skip this entire section in regular NA%. And this is also, in my opinion, the most confusing, like key portion. Yeah, because we are going to be getting all 3 keys before we even see the door. So
yeah, normally you would see the door and then you would go off somewhere else to get all 3 keys. Here it's a little different. All 3 of the keys are before the door, so if you weren't expecting the keys, you're gonna have to come back here, which is, it's not a long trek, but it's a little gotcha moment, which...
So, like, oh, I weren't exploring, how dare you?
Yeah, you weren't enjoying the game, how dare you?
Which, by the way, once again, this game is Switch exclusive. Was there any, we talked about this briefly before when we were setting up, is there any thought of, like, bringing this to other consoles?
No comment.
That's fair.
Fair enough.
Also, I forgot.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks that it's Switch exclusive, but it is what it is. You know?
I mean, granted, if it were to be exclusive to any console, I would definitely say the Switch was
I was gonna
the
say,
best
it
choice.
fits really well on Switch.
Yeah. Especially with the whole portable, like, grab and go, share it with your friends and family shit.
But, right, okay.
Yeah, I think the portability of the Switch is pretty nice.
Also, you can play, we mapped it so the controls work with a single Joy-Con, so if you've got one Switch, you can, like, we kind of wanted it so there was, like, you didn't have to have 4, like, controllers. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
This
that's
part right
definitely
here.
really nice.
This part right here really sucks, because if you fall down there, you have to do that whole platforming section again, so I always have
Yeah,
to
that
remember...
platforming section is deceptively tricky. I have fallen down there a good amount of times.
And coming up right here, by the way, so you're going to see the area that we would have skipped. So right here, we would have ground pounded through here by using IWC on this wall to the left there. And yeah, we would have skipped that entire, like, 4-minute trek that we just did. So that's how big of a time save IWC is.
Yeah.
But now we're gonna be getting swing here. Oops, I forgot to skip the cutscene. There we go. Alright, so now we have swing, and we're gonna backtrack a little bit, but we have to go out of our way to get this right now. Yeah, as we said though, the no IWC category is the most popular, and I definitely recommend people run this game if you have it or if you plan to get it in the future. This game is very fun to run, and it's also very easy. Again, it mainly comes down to optimizations and stuff like that. No huge skips unless you're doing IWC. And it's just a very nice, relax, and chill speed.
Yeah, and I will say it's if you love Mickey Mouse, if you love platformers, like I would definitely get this game. Like it's so fun.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That's true.
And we aren't just saying that because the devs are here.
Yeah.
I believe you.
Help, the devs are holding this hostage.
Oh god, no. Yeah, I think so far there are, I want to say 7 runners of this game across all the categories, so yeah.
So coming up here is another section, which we wouldn't see in IWC.
Yeah, if we did IWC, after getting swing, we would just leave Terrarium Town. We wouldn't even see the section at all.
Yeah.
That means you missed the best character this time.
That is true. He's a good character.
I'm only saying I voiced that character, that's why I'm saying it.
That's
No
nice.
bias whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. None whatsoever.
Ironically, this is also one of my least favorite key sections too. Like these last two are my least favorite deviations. So ironically, IWC keeps.
I will say,
sees
this
both of them.
single camera lock that we just saw there got me stumped on this section for like a couple minutes because I thought I couldn't progress to the left on my first playthrough.
Yeah, I agree. Actually,
honestly, that was actually probably the only point I got stuck in that game, and that's because I wasn't paying attention that there wasn't a wall on the left side.
yeah. Terrarium Town is the only place where I really got stuck on my first playthrough and got lost, where I accidentally
Yeah.
left Terrarium Town, and I was like, wait, I'm not done there. Wait, hold up. The other one, which we'll get to later, is
The water
every
section.
every speedrunner's worst nightmare, the underwater maze, which we'll get to.
Yeah, that section is very fun to learn for the first time.
Every runner on their first run gets lost there at least once. My world record gets lost there once. So
I think like both of our first runs like lost a couple minutes to just getting lost in that section alone.
something like that, yeah.
Yeah. That's not going to be for a fair bit.
Yeah.
So.
I always want to go to the left there because I always think there's going to be a key, but there's not. And if there's, I'm stuck. Okay. Can take damage there just so this guy's not in my way. There we go.
So this is one of those examples you told us earlier of like having the ground pounds let other players access other areas. That you sort of told us
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it was kind of nice, just kind of going, okay, how far can you push this like this one mechanic, like as something to kind of, it's like that, getting that key there, like I think it's probably best done with like 3 players. I think
Yeah,
that's the
definitely.
fastest way to do
Yeah.
it. It's always quite
And you can
nice.
definitely
when
see that too, yeah. It's very apparent. Which is really cool. I love that design, how it's like yeah, this could definitely be faster if you use multiplayer. But it's not like it's a hindrance or anything like that if you're not.
Yeah, because honestly, if anything, I'd say it's also just as fun with one person because like you're just figuring out like, all right, how can I like sort of tackle these tasks in the best way possible. And then especially when it gets used in like more puzzle scenarios in some rooms, like where do I need to go to ground pound first and stuff like that. It's not overly complex, but like it's still a fun little, you know, trying to do the right words.
Sound it out, buddy.
It's a nice like little brain teaser, is what I have to say. Like, it's not like, you know, solve the Riemann hypothesis, but it's just something to keep you engaged. and that's what I really enjoy.
Yeah, like I think often, like I always think that if you're going to do a puzzle in a platformer, like either make the puzzle tricky to work out what you need to do, but then make it very, very quick to execute, or make it quite easy to work out what it is that needs to be done, and then make it take a while to execute it. Never want a situation where you're kind of like, well, I've worked it out now, but it's going to be ages before I can actually, you know, implement that solve. I just never find that particularly fun.
Yeah, definitely. So now we have the work permit, so now we're going to leave Terrarium Town.
Yeah. Now we can go through the door the intended way instead of, you know, climbing all the way up it.
Wait, I think you cut out there, puppy.
Actually, from my end, it looks like you were the one who did the screen froze.
Oh, oh, my bad. Hopefully it was,
It's fine.
hopefully it's back.
Yeah, it does appear to be back. You're good.
Okay, good. Sorry about that.
We were actually splicing the run there.
Don't say
tell
that.
anyone.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting we have to go down here. So yeah, we don't usually have to backtrack like this in any percent. We don't have to go down that section, so it throws me off a little bit each time that I do it. I definitely have put more time into regular any percent than no IWC. So yeah, my bad, I did not practice enough for this marathon.
Wow.
I was really hoping regular 80% would win, but I mean, this is the best of both worlds, because you guys get to see the entire 80% run, no glitches, and then I'm going to show off the glitches after.
Yep. So yeah, right now we just got the work permit. We're going to be heading into the third area of this game, where I believe, in terms of story, we're just handing that guy's research we saw to some other scientists.
Pretty much.
Just so he lets us progress up there.
Yeah, and we're going to have a pretty fun side quest where instead of getting 3 keys, we have to find 5 children.
Yeah.
So that is what we'll be doing. And so fun fact about IWC coming up, if you do IWC and skip the work permit, we actually have to intentionally quit out of the game in that category and reload the file. And the reason why is because the game will crash and soft lock if we continue.
No, it'll just soft lock. It just soft locks. It will never crash.
But that's what I mean, yeah, like it makes it unable for us to progress. Yeah.
We're going to be teleporting back to the library because, you know, teleporting is obviously faster than walking.
I should have made a no teleport category.
That would be interesting in a weird, in an odd sense, I'd say.
Yeah, there's also separation of IWC and no IWC in 100%, and you may wonder why, because you still have to go everywhere in 100%. But the reason why is you can only have to go through that area once, twice.
Yeah.
Revisit it, so that's also going to keep having 2 separate categories for that.
Plus, having getting swing early makes the section up there a little faster because you do tend to move. I believe it's like very slightly faster when you're swinging as compared to like walking and jumping.
Also, right here, this door we would do IWC over, so we would just completely skip getting the work permit like that.
Wow, I can't believe you're using a door as a door.
I know, crazy. Also, I absolutely love these star platforms. I think they're a really cool idea, and we actually skip using them sometimes, like this. Fall down. So,
yeah.
we intentionally make sure we avoid them sometimes.
We're speedrunners. We love avoiding the cool mechanics.
We avoid intense mechanics, how dare we?
Yeah. I will say, definitely the star platforms are one of my favorite ideas in the game. They were a bit confusing to me at first, but once I figured them out, they're probably like the best mechanic in the game.
Yeah, was there like a favorite mechanic that you guys had other than like, you know, outside of the abilities and stuff like that, that like was just fun to work on and fun to think of puzzles for?
Why don't you go, Jobs?
Well, like, I didn't really work on any puzzles. So that's more you thing, but I just wanted like the swimming was definitely like my biggest, headache, but when it came together in the end, like that felt really good. Like, no. I feel like all the trouble it gave me, like the walking definitely was my favorite ability to work on.
These were fun though. Like I remember, like when we were just kind of like looking at like the pieces that we had, when we kind of we were like, oh, we haven't used the we called them shooters, like the little like cubes that shoot things at you. We're like, we haven't used them, we should introduce them, and it just turned out that we wanted to introduce them at the same time we were introducing these platforms. We were like, oh, actually, we should make it so that you can like block the path of their projectiles, and so you can like let the player like protect themselves from being hit by these things, and that was a cool thing to play back with.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, these guys can be kind of annoying because at first I thought they were cycle based for a while, but I'm not sure if they are. But sometimes they seem to just be shooting me, and they always shoot me at the perfect time to hit me when I'm passing through.
Yeah. They love to just shoot at the most inopportune time in your like speed run.
Yeah.
Casually, I never had much trouble with them, but definitely in speedrunning, like they just
Oh, that one almost hit me.
annoying little buggers, as you almost saw there.
Yeah, and right now we're actually going out of our way to find the mayor's 5 kids. So there we go. One of them.
We don't talk about the out of context quote I had with this section.
Oh my god, yeah. Let's talk about that. But yeah, there are 2 down below and then 3 up top. And yeah, before you collect one of the kids in IWC, you have to reload the game.
Yeah.
No, not reload the game, but just like quit to the main menu and then load back in. Ironically, the hardest part of running this game is remembering where to go.
There are actually a couple fun damage boosts in this section that you could do. Namely, off of, actually, ironically, the
right there,
enemies.
That's a cool one right there, where we skip the, it saves a few seconds. They're supposed to, like, kind of maze that you go on that star path. We'll see it on the way back. But if you just don't step on the platform, the next star path won't actually activate. So we can just jump right through it.
Yeah, actually, we never, basically the way those star paths work is there's a glowing cluster of stars that activates the whole sequence, but then basically when you step on a path from a star to another star, it creates another path and so on and so on. Again, it's a really neat mechanic, and it's utilized really well in my opinion, especially in a couple side rooms that unfortunately we're not going to be able to see, but it was a really fun mechanic to just platform around.
Yeah, definitely.
I call this one here that you're going to go through here. I would just call this one cat face.
Oh, I see it now.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I see it now. I hate you for that.
I'll never be able to unsee it now.
Yeah, I'm never going to be able to unsee that cat face.
That's actually great. Ironically, that's the one we skipped too.
Is this revenge for my terrible skip naming conventions?
Alright, so now we're gonna go... We got the 2 at the bottom, so now we're gonna exit this area and go get the 2 up top. Or sorry, 3 up top.
3 up top.
This is another very confusing section just because it's very easy to get turned around in this top area.
Yeah, because... Let me see. I have the map pulled up.
Yeah, Puppy actually... So, when Puppy learned this game, what I did, it's really cool because we both had different ways of learning this game and figuring out where to go. What I did was I made, like, a PowerPoint of where to go. And, like, it told me where to go and just described in my own like, you know, ways that I would understand, not anyone else, but told me where I had to go and what I had to do in every section. What Puppy did, he actually recreated and stitched together the entire map so that he could, like, reference it and stuff like that. So it's really cool.
It is a very large PNG.
Yeah, we also should mention, by the way, we are scratching the surface of this game, so definitely check it out if this piques your interest at all. There's so many secrets to find and so many different paths to go to.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, this map is actually, like, pretty dang large, unironically, and we're just only seeing, like, a fraction of it. Like, we're just literally trying to go, we're doing what most any percent students do, just go point A to point B fast as possible. Like, this game has so much more. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So in this room, there's actually a really neat damage boost strat that you could do. It's pretty precise, but that green guy on the top, you can actually boost up one of his projectiles to reach that higher platform.
Yeah, Puppy also found that one.
Actually,
was that not
it was
you?
another guy. Yeah,
Okay,
it was another guy.
Never mind. I forgot if that was you or if that was someone else.
Yeah.
I know you brought that to my attention first.
Yeah.
Puppy and I know each other from outside of this game, so...
to do that in a run, but...
Yeah, Puppy and I knew each other from outside of this game. I actually didn't think I was going to speedrun this game when I picked it up, but he knew he was going to run it at least once.
Yeah. Like, as soon as I finished a casual playthrough, I'm like, you know what, this would be a pretty casual and chill speed game.
Also, that's a
that I
really
would
cool skip
definitely
there that Electric Man actually found where you can skip going up and around there. He unintentionally found that, and I saw him do it in his run. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go that one.
Right now, we're just going through a little loop on the upper section of, I believe the section is called Crater's Bay.
It is, yes.
Yeah. And we just are collecting the final two keys.
Keys.
Or children, my bad. The same thing, obviously. But yeah, so
Right here's
it's kind of a chill moment.
If you have anything to read, now would be a good time actually, while we just move around here and get the last two.
There is nothing to read, but there is still time for donations, so if you'd like to donate to Prism, we would really be appreciated of you.
Definitely, I agree. Donate to the
Absolutely.
good cause. I'm pretty sure the incentives are all passed now, but that doesn't mean you can't donate. I was thinking about donating $1 for every second I'm on my PB, but I think I'm already like 30 seconds behind. This one's been okay, but I've made some flubs here and there.
Yeah.
I've got faith you're gonna win it all back in the water section.
Oh man, actually, ironically, the water section is where my biggest time save is. I think I have like 20 seconds there.
Yeah.
Something like that. So that was our last of the kids that we need to do.
This sort of segment of the game is definitely the one between the first book and the second book is definitely the longest
Yeah,
in terms
definitely.
of the speedrun.
The
And also
shortest
crossing
is-
casual gameplay.
Yeah, the shortest is between the second and third, where you just have to do the underwater maze, and that's basically it.
As well as the whole thing up in
Oh, the lab.
Metropolis.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I like to call it MOPS, because that's what it's actually called.
Yeah, mobs.
I like to call it lab, just
Like,
because
I just realized I called it Metropolis, not Gizmoopolis. I'm so
Metropolis.
sorry, devs. I will take whatever.
You are banned from playing this game.
No,
I am no longer-
Gizmoopolis is actually a place. Nobody's wrong.
Nobody's wrong,
I
except
said
for Puppy.
Metropolis, not Gizmopolis.
That's
why I'm being banned.
How dare
I'm
you
being-
say Metropolis?
Everybody points and
That
laughs.
this is not Superman.
I'm getting banned for misremembering a name of an
How
area.
dare you? Especially when we're on call with
I can't believe I've done this.
Oh, whoops, I forgot it's this way. Oh, times when we're gonna get turned around today. Take your guesses, everybody. Again, the biggest thing of this game is ironically remembering where to go, which even after playing this game many times through, I sometimes still forget.
It's again like this map just begs to be explored. Like you like it or not, you're going to want to explore this map, in my opinion.
So now we're going to be getting our next upgrade here coming up soon, which is Glide. And that's going to allow us to go get our second home. We actually didn't even acknowledge what we're doing in this game and the story.
Oh yeah. So basically, Mickey and his friends have been tricked to coming onto this island.
Hey! Spoilers! That's spoilers!
They're watching a run of this game. We kind of have to.
Literally the first cutscene of this game. But basically, they get summoned to this island by this guy named Toku, and basically he tells us that these 3 books are missing from this library, and more or less go find them.
Pretty much.
Very simple story. It feels like some sort of plot to like a Mickey Mouse episode, which honestly works perfectly for this game.
And there is more to the story. We'll wait to spoil the end. But
obviously, like, since we're not in that part of the game, not gonna explicitly spoil it yet.
I'll tell you all the plot your ears if you don't want spoilers. The story is very good in this game, though. It's very charming.
It's simple, but in a charming way.
Right here, we're gonna skip 2 cutscenes.
You're not getting your Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom lore from this. Like,
what if you are?
Yeah, when's the Mickey Mouse Dark Souls, huh?
Oh my god. Okay, so now it's time to go to Canada. I am Canadian, and this reminds me a lot of Canada because it's very snowy. So everybody say hi to Canada.
Welcome to Canada.
Welcome to Canada. Of course, Canada's on a giant mountain.
Yeah. Canada canonically exists in Mickey Mouse now.
Mickey Mouse Canada Clubhouse.
Alright,
I also wanted to ask, is there a reason why the top of the island is a unicorn? I never understood it.
Unicorn?
Or at least it looks like it. It's we're at the end of this area, it looks like a head of either a horse or a unicorn, is what I like.
I think it's meant to be like a bird.
Oh, is it a bird? I always thought it was a unicorn. I don't know why.
That's...
I totally interpreted it wrong. My bad.
Nah, you're just blind.
That is
We've
true.
established this.
We very much established this on my streams.
Yeah.
That's a giant peacock.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
That flew over my head.
It's because you skip all the cutscenes.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, this is now going to be a cutscene percent run. We're going to watch all the cutscenes.
Honestly, I haven't watched the cutscenes since the game first came out, so forgive me for my wrong lore.
Wow. Just for that, we're forcing you to run cutscene percent.
Now I'm banned.
Yeah, now you're banned.
Yeah, no, it's literally... I think you can kind of see where I'm coming from, though. Like, look at the eye, it's so sparkly. And then I thought this was a horn up here.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of
brown.
I still think you're blind, though.
I'm definitely wrong.
But so coming up is our second boss. Gonna really quickly try to remember. I believe it's something like it is Peahen.
Yeah.
The gimmick of this boss is you have to swing on these crystals in order to destroy them, and once you destroyed all of them, well, you get a hit. And like I said, bosses really like to utilize the abilities that you gain in that sort of section of the game, so obviously you see the swing mechanic here, and then we'll also be seeing on a later phase the glide mechanic being utilized.
Yeah, the bosses are really well designed. I really liked seeing what the next one was going to be and stuff like that.
This one was definitely my favorite boss.
It's also really cool because each of them follow the same, like, the same sort of, same pattern where, like, it's gonna be 3 hits for the first phase, 3 hits for the second, and then 1 for the last, but obviously the last one's gonna be...
The last one's the most difficult.
Most difficult and, the longest one.
I will say, doing these bosses with one heart on my casual playthrough, or like in the one heart mode, was definitely a challenge.
Oh yeah.
Like, if it wasn't like... It's not like your Mario Boom Booms where it's like, you can breeze past this no matter what. Like, these bosses actually do get challenging when you're, you know, literally not playing with infinite health.
Yeah, or in Iron Mouse mode. Fun fact, I beat the officer without taking any damage. I'm pretty sure you can do the same with all the bosses, but it's much more difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You definitely can.
Yeah, you definitely can. The issue is obviously, you know, doing it, because, again, these bosses do get pretty decently difficult. Not, like, insanely hard, obviously. Like, you're not going to be spending hours grinding out a boss, but, like, you might take a couple deaths on your first run through of the boss. Which, again, always appreciated. Like, I'd rather have a boss with challenge than just breezing through it and, like, just saying, alright, that was a thing.
Also, these hits each take 1.5 swings on the actual hooks. So because of that, I try to make it so that I start at the right time, so that I can be ready to go to the next one.
Yeah, that's the tricky part about speedrunning this boss.
I somehow was like second too early.
And then if you accidentally release too early, you do have to start over with breaking the crystal. So,
as you saw there, it's a small time long.
It's awesome hearing you guys enjoying these boss fights. It was really hard designing them. It was really hard like implementing them. We put a lot of time into it. Not like it's like just like the technical challenge of the thing. It was like everything, like the backgrounds changed. There's like environmental storytelling. It's like figuring out like all these elements. I mean, just like this part, like each phase that changed like so much. Like like it's moving things around just like a little bit makes like a huge change.
Yeah, no, it definitely goes to show.
Another thing about these bosses too is like you can tell from like both Post Officer and now this with the fact that you have multiple sort of objectives or weak points to hit. Like I again personally haven't experienced it in multiplayer, but I can tell like it is designed for multiplayer. Like everyone will have their own sort of something to do and like multitask with others with, and I can probably say like it would be very fun to just like grab a group of like 3 of your friends and just like figure out like the best way to go through the game together. Like if there's ever like a 4-player speedrun setup of this, probably very fun time.
Yeah, I definitely need to. It's gonna sound really horrible. I need to find friends to run this with.
I'm not Joey's friend. We confirmed this, by the way.
That boss specifically is definitely. It looks really cool to like split up and like, okay, you take this section of the hooks. I'll take this section. We'll meet up back down here.
Yeah. There's another boss later, the 3rd one in this game, that also looks really fun to just like split up with 4 people and absolutely like demolish. But I won't mention anything about it until we get to it.
So we're actually going to use that second tome. Each tome is used for one of those book cutscenes like I talked about. That's unskippable. And now we have to go place this one. It makes you kind of remember, and like when you're first playing the game, you have to remember where it is. Because flat out just tell you, oh yeah, you got to go put this there. By the way.
Yeah, I believe the objective marker, which is if Joey were to open that map, it would be marked with the red Mickey Mouse flag. I don't believe it shows you the exact location of where you need to put the tome in. So you're kind of expected to have explored a little bit, which I mean, you most likely will end up doing and know where the things are. And even then, this one's even on the way, I believe.
It is,
like
yeah.
normal progression, so.
Yeah, it's right along the path to go get Goliath, so... This is probably the one you're going to remember the most after you get the tome.
So here we have Giant Plant.
The official name.
So, yeah, Giant Plant. Trademark.
Yeah, it comes from one seed.
That a snail, like, pooped on or something. I'm not sure what that is.
Make sure you water your plants, and they'll turn out just like this one.
Yeah. Just make sure to not have any telescopes. Plants canonically hate telescopes.
Alright, so this part, in my opinion, I love the visual aspect of this area. It's just the colors look really nice.
Oh yeah, actually, if you guys had to pick like one area of this game to be your absolute favorite in terms of like gameplay, visuals, all of that, what area would you pick?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think Gizmopolis for me.
That's a good one.
I just like I just like the clockwork nature of it. It's very, you know, it's a little platforming puzzles. Usually like this area, I would say like really like it, but exploring definitely Gizmopolis. How about you, Liam?
Again, visually, like this area, like it's just really nice, and like there's a lot of areas that don't look too like threatening, but this one is like the most chill-feeling area. It's just there's not that much. Not that much platforming in it, so I'd probably have to say Craig's Bay, the bit just before this, is my favourite from a design point of view.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one as well.
If I had to choose one, I would go Head of the Highness, which is the snow area we were in later. Purely because A, I'm an absolute sucker for snow areas in video games. I love them to death. And also because I think that area utilizes the glide and swing mechanics like really well in tandem.
Yeah.
And obviously, of course, the Peahen boss fight, which we saw, is my absolute favorite. So probably absolute favorite part of this game, if I had to single out a moment.
Also, this area is really cool. So this is what I like to call the lab. Not actually what it's called mobs. But this is a cool area that we have to go to progress the story until we can get Deep Dive, which is the underwater ability.
Yeah. Fun fact, you actually can't swim until you get that ability. You can only, like, be on the surface of the water.
Or, as like they call it, moon juice.
Oh yeah, moon juice.
That's true.
Yeah.
They, like... How does that work? Is it actually from the moon, or...
You asking the developers?
Yeah.
What's
like,
the lore here?
Yeah, what's the lore behind moon juice? Is it like orange juice, or is it something else?
So I think lore-wise, the whole idea is that like the moon over Crater's Bay cracked, and then sort of like sort of it all dripped into like the contents of the moon cracked and dripped
it's like
into the ocean.
So
Yeah, it's like the yolk of the moon. Yeah.
That's actually really cool. I didn't think about that.
Yo, anyone want some scrambled moon?
Oh, I would love some scrambled moon. Thank you for asking.
Oh, wow.
So,
The lab is split up into 4 different sections, and thankfully it's not too confusing on which one you have to go to in which order. You have to go bottom left, top right, top left, bottom right, and then top left.
yeah, and then the whole gimmick is every time you hit one of those switches, the whole sort of layout changes. So you're just basically constantly running back and forth through like these sort of new, old, and remixed sort of sections. I think it's a really clever like way to like make sort of this whole back and forth trek a lot more interesting. But I will say, these spiky enemies that you're seeing here, the ones that sort of extend sideways and vertically, they can be quite the pain sometimes while going fast, because sometimes they'll just have it vertically and you have to wait a bit before you can jump over them.
I was actually going to mention that because there is actually, if you time your boost jump very perfectly, which I'm going to try to do in a set, like the next time I see them, you can actually just barely get your hitbox over them.
Yeah. But it is pretty
very
precise.
It's not. It's actually not a hitbox. It's hurtbox. There's a difference. Have you not played Smash?
I have played Smash for 5 years. I just don't care for the terminology personally.
Wow.
Me neither.
Alright.
But yeah, anyways, I believe the whole reason we're doing this is like, story-wise, I think there's like a critical failure going on or something like that. And Uncle Steve needs us to he called us here to fix it.
That's unfortunate. I lost a little bit of time there because the cycles there with that moving platform. All good though. And these like disappearing and appearing bounce pads, they are a little annoying because sometimes they just perfectly time it when I am timing my jump, so I fall down. But yeah, right there I can just jump over like that. Barely make it over.
Have you tried messing around with the timing setting?
The timing settings we have tried. So the only thing that changes, there's, for those who don't know, in the accessibility settings, there's a you can change how fast those platforms move. So you can make them slower, or two options are normal, slower, or slowest. So it would actually make some of those cycles easier to hit and consistent, but because of the fact that they move slower, it's not faster to change that setting.
Yeah.
I
have
agree.
a little bit of that setting there.
Actually, on the topic of Smash, I want to get this as a personal question.
Mickey Mouse and Smash. I'm kidding.
Okay. Speaking of that, I actually have a question myself that I hopefully think will have high hopes for the future of this game. Is there going to be any DLC for this game? If not, then that's okay. Nothing demanding.
You cut out there.
Yeah, you cut out a little there.
Sorry. Well, yeah, I can't really answer that.
Yeah, that's
Keep
fair.
expensive by the gods.
I can understand.
I kind of figured by asking those questions that you wouldn't be able to answer them.
Don't expect any DLC from it, or maybe who knows? It's a secret. We know, but the world will never know.
For no until we know.
Actually, on a similar topic, if you had to make one change to this game, like anything at all, what would you add, remove, or like change?
Question 2.
That is a very good question. DM, do you want to I want to think about this one a bit. Do you have it? Do you have an easy one?
Do I have one on the tip of my tongue? To be honest, like I'd put more bosses in. I think the bosses were really fun, and they took, they kind of, like you said, like it almost feels like you could imagine like a cool boss that used ground pound and a cool boss that used like the grind rails and stuff like that. Like, I think we knew we wanted them in, but I think it wasn't until we were quite far through development we knew how cool they were. So adding a few more bosses in, I think, would be great.
I definitely agree.
Yeah, definitely agree with that.
That was really awesome.
Did it not take long enough, James?
Again?
Did it not take long enough?
No, you were way too efficient. It's kind of like a difficult question. Thing is, like, while you're developing these things, like you don't quite, you don't see the magic. You just you know what's going on behind the scenes, and you're so focused on rewards, and like, you know, it takes a while to kind of like step back and you know, look at the thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I can.
What it is. So
Maybe the map.
think
Maybe
my-
I'll change the map.
yeah, oh, that's a good one. That is a good one. You see, you've got all the answers now.
I mean,
Well, okay, so one thing, well, from a tech point of view, is like, I think that I think the way we constructed geometry could have been done like a little bit more efficient. It's just. Yeah, skip.
that's fine. It's completely understandable. Like, you get so engrossed on the little details that sometimes, like, when you step back and, like, you just can't think what you would change.
Yeah. Also, I feel bad because we're telling you, like, what if your game do you not like?
Yeah, that's kind of my fault.
So good.
So
think
I
it's
didn't pop up and I went, not enough, it's all brilliant.
It's
and I would
all
have more of
perfect.
it.
There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with this game. Why would you
Absolutely
ask
nothing.
that? How dare you get off this commentary?
Okay, sorry, like,
It's all good.
I just like, I found the words.
You're good.
So, I think like the thing that gave me like the most difficulty, like what I mean, like, you know, be a bit more efficient with like the geometry is everything is constructed out of lines. So it's kind of, once you pass that, just the line, like you're inside geometry, then it kind of like makes it. So all our kind of checks and things have to be pretty precise. Because another thing that I would change is all our physics, all our collisions are done discretely and not continuously. What that means is like, we don't kind of like sweep ahead. It's like in that, on that physics time step, we
The mic was a little off there.
Yeah.
We lost him. We lost him, folks.
Yeah, you're kind of cutting out to, like, static right now.
I don't know if the chat can hear static right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Yeah. By the way, Uncle Steve's best character.
Uncle Steve's just chilling in the water there, just hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're actually going to be getting the underwater ability coming up here pretty soon, and we're going to be moving to my totally favorite section, the underwater section.
Yeah, this is, basically the first time run's worst nightmare, because
Yeah. As
you
can see,
think you have it figured out, you think it's a simple point A to point B, and then you get thrown, like, a curveball here, and then, yeah, casually it's a very fun section, like, just being able to
there
explore.
are sections like that, just normal. Like, you saw me actually get flipped around sometimes during this run, and this is me after playing this game dozens of times. So it happens to the best of us, and the worst of us, and any of us.
Like,
And in between.
And yeah, and all spaces in between. But we're using this underwater dash that we have, using the deep dive ability to move fast underwater.
yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
not
coming back to that.
Timing. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, coming back to that whole, like, sort of getting turned around thing, like, unironically, this is kind of the worst category in the game, because this game wants you to explore, like, and it's super fun to do so, and we're just more or less spitting in the face of that.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, it is still a fun category. It's just, like, rushing through this game point A to point B, in my opinion, is not the best way to experience this game. Like,
yeah, obviously exploring and like taking your time through the game is what is best. Me and Puppy have actually mentioned this because some people said they want to pick up this game just for speedrunning, and we both say that it's like, don't pick up this game just for speedrunning. This is a game that's best played casually first, and then if you like it, if you want to try speedrunning it, then sure, go ahead.
Like, this is a game you don't speedrun because you want to speedrun it. This is a game you speedrun because you enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, just like the next game be coming up soon.
That's true.
Just
So we're done in lab now. By the way, we got our deep dive ability. We are gonna not stick around here. We're gonna get out of here and go dive underwater.
We're gonna head to the final section of the game, the underwater section.
We're gonna head under the sea.
Wait.
The last one on the overworld. There is one more after it, but it's more of like a final sequence area, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and that's actually my favorite area of the game.
Oh, the final
area? Yeah.
Yeah, that area is just more or less, it turns into... There are still like some of those like multiplayer catered challenges where like, you know, you have to use ground pound to open up areas, but more or less it does become more of a straight pure platforming challenge, which obviously for a game all about platforming is good for a final area.
So before this run started, we were talking about how this section isn't our favorite and we get lost in it. And you guys were also saying that that was the case a little bit too during development. So how was that when this when playtesting this game and stuff like that? Did you ever get lost or anything?
Yeah, no. So, like, there's quite a lot of people sort of like mention this, but there is quite a lot of Metroidvania DNA in the game. Like, that was sort of a lot of our influences were, you know, Ori and the Blind Forest and like games like that. And obviously, a big part of those games is like there being lots to explore. And yeah, sometimes the player like gets lost and they're kind of like encouraged to like pay attention to cues. But we also wanted to make it really friendly. And so at the beginning of the game, it's quite linear a lot of the time, and we kind of slowly introduce like a lot of split paths and like different objectives. And I remember like we got to when we got to doing this area, like we were like, okay, this is it. This is the final area you're going to be in. Like this can be the most like, you know, difficult to navigate. Like it's okay if people get lost here. And we built this out and we were like, oh, this is great. And we play tested it all with designers, and then we got like other people to test it, and we thought we built something that would take about 45-50 minutes to complete, and people were playing it for like 3 hours and not finishing it, and we were like, oh, okay, that's too much. Like, so basically we basically put up a bunch of, like, in certain sections we put up walls to, like, literally, like, make it more linear. In other sections we kind of, you know, kind of made it clear that, you know, it's it's a bonus area that you're going into. And we did make it, like, way more streamlined, because, you know, you don't want people getting lost that way.
Yeah, I can tell because we haven't mentioned it yet, but there's actually the way that I know where I'm going and which path I'm have to follow for some of the areas. There's these signs, these different color signs in the game, which are good to know for a casual player. Like, oh, purple is going to take me where I need to go to progress the story.
Yeah. By the way, this room is one of my favorites in the game.
It's a really good puzzle,
such a good. Yeah, it's such a good blending of like a lot of mechanics into one.
But yeah, this is like, again, it's one of those things where you're getting towards the end of the game, you've introduced a lot of mechanics, and it's kind of like, oh, you know, people know what all of these mean now, we can start like really pushing it, and it's kind of fun when you get to do that.
And now we're gonna, so we got 2 keys from that area, and now we have to go down to get the other one to the other side.
Yeah.
And right here we go up to get this key. This is what I mean by it's a little confusing, because when I first played this game, I got to the door and had 0 keys, and I'm like, what Where?
Yeah.
Where am I going?
I think I had gotten the one key up here before I hit the door.
Yeah, and I was just like,
my first playthrough.
there's
And I'm like,
keys?
where are the other two? And like,
And then later,
it's definitely
we're gonna have like
a
these...
bit of a curveball if I had to give my honest opinion.
Yeah.
But it's like I said, it's a fun curveball because like, oh, we're really turning up the notch here now. So
I think as well it's because it comes after Mox, which is like kind of linear. Like I think it makes it feel like, oh, I've kind of not stretched that muscle for a bit, you know?
Definitely.
absolutely.
There's also these slime buttons that we are seeing here, and later on, there's a door in an underwater section that is blocked, like a pathway that we have to go down. So you have to remember, like, oh yeah, I've got to make sure I hit that slime button before I get there.
Yes.
Yeah, thankfully we can remember where to go. So.
Well, you know, usually.
I should.
Yeah.
Which is funny that, like, if I get through this without any, like, getting lost, that's funny, because I got more lost in the non-underwater section. Where I just, like, randomly was
There
like, where am I
is
going?
a very particular path that's supposed to... Oh.
It's done up or...
As I was saying, there's a path that's supposed to lead up, like, sort of back towards the surface as sort of a shortcut. And that is a very common path to get turned around in, especially because it goes above land, like a lot of, like, the earlier keys, were basically, if you took note of that there were no underwater keys. Actually, I am curious to that, why is that just like something that sort of happened as a coincidence, or is there an explicit reason why there are no keys underwater?
So we kind of like, you know, like we were saying with the boss, like with the bosses, like you never want a situation where you.
Once again, this is the part where I always get turned around. You see that slime, and you're like, okay, well, where's the button? That's the most common place I get turned around. That's the only big mistake in my, IWC, sorry, world record is this section right here. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we kind of didn't want to do this thing where in our final area we basically like threw out all the stuff that the player has like learned and mastered by just making it all underwater. So that's why, like, a lot of it, even though it is an underwater area, like about half of it, maybe even more, is all like, kind of on land. So you're like, well, that's kind of what the player's been learning. Really, what we want to do is learn this little extra skill, which is swimming, and like combine it with that, which is why we get to this, like why we created these floating water sections where it's like, you're moving between moving on land and swimming constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, specifically this section here I really like, where like there's these floating water sections mixed with platforming. So
Yeah, especially when a little later on, other mechanics like swinging gets introduced to the water blocks.
Yeah, we had someone on the team who was like playing who was really good. They were really good at like giving very like honest feedback. Like, so they'd sometimes just be like, yeah, I didn't really like that. And you'd be like, oh, okay, I thought it was good. And they played this level, and they literally went, yeah, I didn't like swimming at all. And then, like, yeah, I wasn't enjoying it, I was getting bored. But then I got to the floating water section, and I was like, okay, maybe it's cool. Like,
yeah,
okay, that's good then.
I mean, hey, in my opinion, honest feedback is better than anything else in terms of feedback. Like, I'd rather someone give it to me straight than have someone, like, skirt around.
Or not say anything. Like,
yeah,
the worst thing is if someone doesn't like something and it's like, yeah, but I'm not going to say anything. Like, you'd much rather they were honest.
Yeah.
This part in
That
my
makes
grade
things
is
better.
very easy to get turned about, so I just wanted to mention that because it's this is where we
Yeah,
have to
no,
get the slime
this
door.
section in particular, I'll admit, in my playthrough, especially when I came back for 100%ing, this section was probably the most frustrated I got in this game. It wasn't to the point like where I would quit and turn it off, but it was definitely a bit more of a slog than I would like.
Yeah.
Yeah, those tentacles.
But that's probably like the only complaint I would have in like this section.
Sorry, continue with what you were saying before I accidentally cut you off.
Oh no, I was just going to say, like, I think, yeah, those tentacle doors are quite often. We try and make it so that, like, when you do see them, if you didn't see the button, at least you're not going, oh, well, where's the button? Like, they're on screen when you see the doors, but they're still dead easy to fix.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually really appreciate that because you're like you could be like, oh, where is it? But then like there's a room up above that you haven't explored.
So this is the final section underwater. This one's the easiest. This one's kind of the easiest to not get lost in, ironically, being the final one. But it is definitely a lot more platforming based rather than exploration based. Neat little skip there, just falling in between the spikes in the water.
Yeah, again, just small optimizations like this because okay. As soon as I say that, then I mess up. Oh, and then I went the wrong way. That was a misinput on my end. But yeah, just those small optimizations of oh yeah, it's slightly faster to just fall instead of like swim down. So do that instead.
I'm not sure if there's any way to not accidentally not head up that platform while hitting that button.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure. It would take a little bit of time though. If we were
Yeah,
able to.
there might be a way to bonk on that ceiling before you go through that semi-solid, but...
One of the things that Puffy and I were specifically trying to find in this game that we haven't yet, obviously, but it was it's trying to find a way to clip into the ground. If that's the case, we're able to actually most likely skip like 90% of this maze, which would be like the biggest discovery. Which sadly nothing's been found yet.
Yeah, not to mention, if we could just find a way to skip all the water here, and like IWC especially, as soon as we would skip not only most of Terranium Town, we would be able to skip our second visit to Gizmoopolis, as well as obviously the entire water section. So
Yeah. And
basically, as
could
soon
also
as we
skip
meet the
getting
second
deep
boss,
dive.
we'd be right on our way to the third boss.
Yeah. We could technically skip getting deep dive to get to the third boss, but and right here again, if you go to the left path, you wouldn't get very far because there's a block at the door there.
Yeah. Right now it's more basically the whole area is just about testing. Like, you start off in the upper area, which introduces you more to swimming and exploration, and then middle area tests that even more, and this one's actually tends, in my opinion, to test a bit more of your platforming with swimming rather than your exploration with it, which I think is neat. A little curveball to keep you engaged. There's still obviously exploration because, you know, we're past most of the linear.
There's gonna be a little bit like the ending is pretty linear, but that's just because it's like
the ending is pretty linear, but that's more so because it's the ending.
The ending.
Ending.
Yeah. Fun fact, you can't access the map at the very start and near the end of the game.
Yeah, there is no map for the final section of the game.
Also, this part right here is the last part to really get lost. You have to go to the right here, which is actually kind of funny because for most of the rest of the underwater area, you usually just go down left.
Most of your progression beforehand, like you go down the left path. Here, you have to go down the right path.
That throws me off sometimes, but it's all good.
Anyways, we are approaching the third third out of 4 bosses in the game.
Technically, final like of the bosses.
Yeah, the final sort of like
the final of the prison, the thieves.
Yeah, the final of the thieves that we have to track down in the story.
Yeah, which after this we're going to, by the way, kind of spoilers here, at the end of this, we find out that these weren't thieves. These are actually the good guys, and we have been duped. We've been duped, and turns out that the actual bad guy is Toku after this whole time, and he's been using us.
So, just like how Post Officer made us use our boost jump and wall jump, and Ehan made us use glide and swing. This boss, Old Timer, makes us use the deep dive and swimming. We do actually get to see a bit of both the glide and swing mechanic on his last phase, but for the most part, it's mainly the deep dive ability and platforming through these blocks of water.
Yeah, and you're actually supposed to like dodge these lasers and stuff like that, but why do that? I mean, you can just take them like a man.
Yeah, we have infinite health. What challenge?
Again, that's why I do think that there should be another category where it's like not infinite health, but not Iron Mouse mode, something in between, just so that we can have a little bit of extra.
Well,
this boss is definitely pretty challenging with actual health restrictions.
Yeah.
Well, there is no rule that you can change health during the middle of the run. I didn't put a rule there.
That is true.
Oh no.
But to be fair, changing it takes like a good 5 to 10 seconds, so it's not really worth it for the most part.
Yeah.
And yeah, so this is also the boss that takes the longest, just because you have to wait for him to do that sort of like laser section first before you can hit him.
Yeah, you have to wait for one cycle of his lasers before you get these asteroid things spawn and you can hit them.
They're seashells.
I think they're supposed to be asteroids.
They're seashells.
Oh, they're seashells. Okay, listen, maybe I'm the blind one.
Hey, it's okay. I called the top of the island the unicorn, so we're all good.
Okay, to be fair, that one's absolutely on there.
That is true. That's 100% on there. So that was the first phase.
Yeah, so fun fact, Old Timer is actually a girl.
Is that true?
Yes. If you listen to the final cutscene, it's Old Timer talks like a girl.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we haven't mentioned this yet, but the cutscenes in this game are like very well animated and
absolutely. Yeah.
You've been skipping them, but I promise they're good.
Yeah, we promise you, the cutscenes are really good. We're just not going to show them.
I can show a little bit of the last one if you want.
Yeah, you can show the final. You can show a little bit of the final cutscene.
Again, I will quit out because unfortunately you can't skip the credits, so I will be like quitting out to the Switch menu to go back in, check my in-game time, and then show off IWC.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to say? You want to remind what the donations are going towards? You're in line. Okay. That would be a good time.
How did you get sent there?
So here's something else. When you get hit in this game, for like the first few frames after you get hit, if you're holding a direction, your underwater dash will go the other direction. So that's what happened there.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Now you do.
Neither did I.
Oh, I'm teaching everyone something today. Maybe it's not that way, but maybe it's just how it feels for me. But
yeah, I like this boss a lot because the laser is it's really fun, especially in Iron Mouse mode, where you have to I have to plan ahead and dodge the lasers and the spikes. It is really fun.
I will say, this boss I did find mildly. This boss. One of my biggest problems with this boss is actually the fact that the lasers change direction every time they're out.
yeah, that's
Because
fair.
it makes it pretty it feels a bit unnecessarily tricky. to move around, because you can realistically only move around in the sort of off periods where, in that case, you're going to be trying to hit the seashells anyways. So it is a fun boss fight, don't get me wrong. It just, I feel like it does take a bit long.
Yeah,
But
like you said, it is the longest boss of them.
It is the longest boss fight.
Alright, so that is this boss fight now, though, and we're gonna go ahead and skip this cutscene.
Also, another thing is, I never understood why the lasers don't rotate in that third phase. But yeah, also Goofy just drags everyone down a pipe.
That is true. Casual Goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so next, so in my opinion, the best music in the game is the music in this section,
yeah.
the jazz music here.
Oh yeah.
That jam.
And this will be our last unskippable cutscene here.
This is also a really fun cutscene.
Yeah. It's the stream of musical notes, and
Yeah.
they're all bored, and then when they got the music up, they're just jamming.
Yeah. I also do wonder who is... Yeah.
Something I do want to say, though, we were talking about Iron Mouse mode. We do have Iron Mouse mode categories for all of the separated categories, which is going to be very interesting to see who will be the first person to do. Like, I definitely want to do 80%. But imagine Iron Mouse mode Hundo. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun category.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Though there is an exploit that I abuse is by quitting out going to the title menu and loading back on my Iron Mouse mode. It loads back all my health.
Yeah, when you quit out and reload the game, you do regain all your health.
Yeah.
It's not something you would be seeing because obviously it would take a long time to just simply regain all your health that way. Especially when throughout the game, there are these containers with hearts in them. You've seen them a couple of times, but they don't really matter here because obviously we have infinite health.
Yeah,
and infinity plus 1 is still infinity because infinity is a concept, not a number.
We only go out of our way to collect them once, and that's so that we get rid of the cutscene that shows it. Like it's like a 1 or 2 second cutscene.
Yeah.
That tells
Even
you, hey,
then, theoretically, you could just avoid that cutscene entirely.
Yeah, but it's kind of hard to avoid that one. There's so many hearts around.
Yeah, it is hard,
especially in the boss fights.
Like, especially in the boss fights, yeah.
Alright, so yeah, this is gonna be the kind of reveal cutscene, like, oh my god, he was bad the whole time.
He was bad, he fooled us.
And this is where the game actually unlocks the ability to fast travel, which we're going to use to apologize to all of the tome protectors and tell them that we're on their side now.
Oh yeah, we didn't get to we got to see this a little bit, but basically we also turn all of what we now know are the guardians of these tomes into stone. So we kind of have to, you know, unstone them.
Yeah. And something else that's interesting about this, so you may see that I'm waiting to warp, and the reason why is because you can't warp until technically the game still thinks you're in a cutscene if until you all of the characters go into their letters and disappear completely. Whoops. So I can't warp until I see them go away. And now we have to do these in this order. But yeah, I've lost time on my first run because I opened the map right away and the game wouldn't let me warp.
Yeah. I am actually curious because I have not tested this. Does anything happen if you go to the other sort of bosses before the intended order you're supposed to free them in? Or does just nothing happen there?
Nothing. I haven't tested it, but I believe nothing happens.
I would assume that's the case, because...
It's technically
this
good
game...
IWC up to the second boss, but it'd be hard. Actually, I don't know if you could, actually. Never mind. You need glide for that.
Yeah. Well, we would have glide in this point of the game.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was thinking.
Oh, you mean before we beat Post Officer if we somehow manage to get to PM?
Yeah. Alright, and
so we
talked to all three of them. We're gonna go back to the library and go to the ending section of the game.
Yep. like I said, the ending section of the game does away with all the exploration, and it's now basically just one big platforming challenge.
Yeah, so there's no collectibles in this area. This is like the linear area of the game.
Yeah. This is the final test of all you've learned.
I always don't like that because I always am used to like selecting up to like say yes, I'm ready to go to the end of the game, and you have to press down. It throws me off.
Yeah. I mean, granted, better just if you're having someone mashing, have them not confirm it and confirm it. Especially when you have like a pseudo point of no return here.
Those these enemies here with the big lips, they're one of my favourites to design because they've got like, it seems simple at first, but actually avoiding getting hit by them surprisingly hard, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It threw me off at first because I was like, oh, these enemies with that throw the green slime balls are back, and I just like I dodged it and I was like, cool, and then the reds they split up. I'm like, what?
Yeah, no, that caught me a bit off guard on my first time through as well.
Yeah, because you don't look at I didn't look at them like that closely, so I didn't know that they were actually like different enemies.
I will say, the enemy that I got hit the absolute most by, I think it's the tie between the flower one that splits into 6 leaves, and then that shell enemy that shoots like 4 fireballs.
Oh, definitely the shell one for me.
Yeah, no, that one always gets me, like those enemies need a raise.
They need a raise.
Yeah,
they need a. Well, they're all working for Toku, so.
Well, actually, are they, or are they just kind of vibing?
I believe they work for Toku.
And check. I have the tokens.
And so we're gonna have our technically final boss coming up here. We also have an escape sequence end off. So my chat likes to joke that it's a Metroid game.
Yeah.
So, but,
I mean,
save the animals.
save the animals.
Yeah. I mean, technically, we're saving 2 mice. I think Goofy's is Goofy a cow, right?
Isn't Goofy a dog?
I'm not sure. I always forget if Goofy's a cow or a dog.
And then we have a dog.
Yeah, and a dog.
Yeah.
Oh, I tried to get that cycle there, but I missed it.
Yeah, just barely.
Yeah, again, these are global cycles when we enter this area.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, after this we will show off what my in-game time was, we'll see how close I was to record, and then we can also show off what IWC is. But I still want to show it off, even though this was the category that won the bid war. Yeah, huge shoutouts to Fastball Owner for having me for this run, because I could not think of a more fitting marathon for this game to have for its first ever marathon event.
Absolutely.
And
I mean,
this game is
Disney
brand
game,
new, it just
Disney.
came out, so yeah.
Yeah. I was planning to run this on License-a-thon, but hopefully next year.
Yeah, so I'm actually submitting this also to GDQ, which hopefully that would get in. That'd be crazy if it did, and it would be really cool. But no promises. We'll have to see what happens.
If this doesn't get into GDQ, we may or may not start a riot.
It's true.
No promises.
For legal reasons, this is a joke.
Yeah.
Okay, so this
So
is
here we have the final boss, Mazzy.
Yeah.
Who...
Also, yeah, he's also known as Graysar.
Yeah, so this
Oh,
guy has been
yeah.
giving us our upgrades the entire game, and whoa, what? He's evil? They pulled it twice, and I'm very impressed that it didn't give me the first time. I kind of figured Toku was gonna be like the final boss, but I was not expecting this, so got me off guard there.
This is definitely like a... Because you think like, oh yeah, they revealed Toku as evil, like, he's absolutely the final boss, and then they just pull this. And it's not even completely out of nowhere. They do kind of build it up, because as you keep getting upgrades from Mazzy, he just keeps like sort of dropping hints that he's like somewhere else, he's getting more and more tired, and it's like, and then he kind of disappears after his last upgrade, and then
That was
well,
crazy,
here
by
we
the
see
way.
what
I had to go
happens.
back for that one, but I don't know what I just did. I accidentally went to the wrong one.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's weird.
way the Mazzy slash Grayzar boss fight works is you'll have these in-between sections where you have to avoid his attacks. Well, we don't, because we have
We just take them, like the most that we are.
Yeah. And then he'll shift to a phase of one of the earlier bosses we fought. So that one was Post Officer. And then it'll go back to another sort of in-between phase, where after avoiding, well, presumably avoiding his attacks for a bit, his crown will appear in the middle, and we can bop it for a point of damage.
So it's 3 hits, and it's a recap of all 3 bosses, basically.
Yeah. With all their mechanics in tow. As well as some in this in-between section. Like, heck, even the appearing and disappearing sort of pull-up bounce pads make a return, which... Yeah. Honestly, I was a bit surprised that that was making a turn, but not an unwelcome one.
Oh, whoops, I went too early. Nice.
What were you saying?
I think I was the first person in the studio to do an Iron Mouse run. But the first time I tried it, it was that sequence there in this boss fight that I died on. I was absolutely devastated.
Oh, you know.
Playing for like 5 hours.
If only he knew. If only he knew the tech. If only he knew this exploit, he would have saved himself.
Yeah. What would be even worse is dying in the escape sequence.
And it's true. That
Which
makes
is
sense worse.
pretty prevalent, honestly, because that escape sequence is definitely not a joke. Like, that is actually kind of a decently difficult part of the game.
Yeah.
Definitely a good way to cap the experience off.
Also,
Yeah.
speaking of the fact that like this is like the perfect place for this first marathon for this game to be at, this is actually perfect timing because I never ran any Disney-related game until this game, so it was like I wasn't even going to submit to this marathon because I didn't have any games to submit. But like I knew Echo and Steve, so I was like I would like to submit something.
Haven't you technically run LEGO Star Wars before?
I guess if you want to count that, I guess that would count. I don't
Star
run it
Wars
very often.
is owned
though.
by Disney, so it would count, I believe.
And there we go, that's the second hit. Now we got the third one, which is going to be the underwater boss again. Grayzar was a really cool fight. I do like this fight a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely like it's definitely a good sort of recap of all the bosses you fought. So I'd say like this is the capping off of like the boss fights and all that, because obviously it is a boss fight. And then the whole escape sequence is like capping off the game as a whole.
And I'm going to give a quick like 5 minutes heads up for time, by the way. Time is going to be after the escape sequence when we fade out. So we got about like 5 minutes until that hits. And I think my RTA world records, I actually checked it in between because I was like, what am I thinking of that sub 2 hours? I was thinking my first sub 2 hours, 90% time. But my world record for no IWC is a 209 for RTA, so I think we're probably on pace for like a 210, maybe 211, which is still pretty good for a no reset. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, coming up, we have our final in-between section. We're just gonna wait for our opportunity to crown, and then we will be on our way to the escape sequence. Doesn't start immediately after the fight, contrary to what you might believe. You actually get a little bit more platforming to
a
do.
little bit of downtime, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not downtime, there's actually some cool puzzles in it.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Definitely chiller time though. It is chiller time than
Yeah.
a boss or
Yeah,
an
it's
escape
sort of
sequence.
building up to the sort of final escape sequence, which I appreciate, because, like, again, normally you would expect, like, final boss, alright, we're gonna thrust you right into the escape sequence, but having that downtime just, like, it builds it up even more, in my opinion.
Definitely. So right here we have a nice little, this is another really cool use of the stars in my opinion.
Yeah. The stars, I feel like, are the mechanic that definitely gets the most mileage in this game, but that's not to say, like, other mechanics, like, get shunned.
Speaking of 100%, by the way, I mentioned that I want to start running 100% pretty soon. I still haven't beaten the game 100% yet.
What? I thought you did.
No, that 81% on my file, on the file screen is my current most that I've done. Again, I kind of rushed into speedrunning this game and have been so focused on that, so.
Well, yeah, I will say, unlike Joey here, if you're gonna play this game casually, definitely, I definitely recommend going for 100% before launching into speedrun.
Don't be like me.
Don't be like him.
Yeah, I definitely am probably the one who, like, I think I'm the only person out of all the runners who has done more than, like, 2 or 3 runs, so I definitely am kind of like the front runner right now, but as we mentioned before, my world record is not perfect, especially for no IWC. It doesn't even use the strat that Puppy came up with that saves about 40 seconds. Anybody who's interested, definitely give it a shot.
Not to mention, we definitely haven't found all the strats in this game. Like you said, this game came out like a couple months ago.
Yeah,
so.
it came out in July, so it's still very new.
It's like, who knows, maybe we'll find a way to just, like, teleport here somehow, like, I don't know, take damage on spike number 31 in the game's code and you just get...
You just warp to the end of the game.
I don't know, maybe you could throw that, maybe you could throw that in a patch.
I hope that... Yeah, can you patch some more tricks into this game
can you
for
patch
us?
in, like, a credit sword? Okay, thanks.
Okay, thanks, bye.
Just
Alright, so
patching,
coming up, we
bottom.
have the escape sequence. So, a very funny part about this game that I honestly kind of laughed at when I first got to this point is Toku, the big bad, gets defeated in a cutscene. There's no fight. There's no big fight.
I thought there was gonna be a second
Minnie
boss fight.
literally just punts him off a cliff.
Yeah, that's really
And
funny.
that's how we yeah.
Yeah, and we do see at the end, Toku is still alive, but beaten.
Don't worry.
And I think I'm actually... I might be wrong, but this might be record pace somehow. I had a few big mistakes.
We'll
but
have to see.
I'm not sure. It'll be close, that's for sure. Again, we go by in-game time, so I'm gonna have to see what my in-game time is at the end. So I might actually not be able to show off that cutscene because I do want to make sure I hit the correct in-game time.
Yeah, so like I said, this escape sequence is actually kind of tough.
Fun fact, that thing at the top, if you touch it, you will die. Even if you have infinite...
Yeah, infinite invincibility mode. When I was watching again, Electric was the first one to do a run of this game, so I was watching World Record to learn from it, and see if there's any strats yet, and you died in this, and I was like, oh, I'm saved.
Yeah, keep in mind, like,
so get ready on time.
we
and,
have the liberty...
very soon.
We get the liberty in this section of being able to just blaze through everything, all the obstacles without a care, because we have infinite health. But if you're playing this, like, with actual, like, health, like, this section is even more difficult, because not only do you have to keep up with the, obviously, the escape sequence.
Also, time is coming up right here, by the way, and... Time.
Yep.
I think that's world record.
Yeah.
I think I just got a record by, like, a minute, and I don't even know how. Like, that didn't even seem that great.
I mean, hey, time save comes in the most unexpected places.
Here's the moment, though. The moment of truth. My world record in IGT is a 206.55. So we will see right here. We just have to wait for the game to load up, but yeah, shout outs once again to the developers, Liam and John Evans. Thank you both. We lost John Evans earlier, but thank
absolutely
you.
wonderful game
For joining
Thank
us.
you for sharing this with the world.
Oh, you're welcome.
It was awesome having
Glad
you
it'll
both
be
on.
Yeah.
And
Excited to see if this is world record.
Yeah, well, you can literally
It
see the
is.
peacock in the island in the main menu.
That's a world record by a minute and 10 seconds.
Congratulations!
Congrats! Let's go!
So I didn't even have my splits running during this entire run, so I didn't even know we were on pace, like, at all. I'm surprised that was, because that didn't feel the greatest to me. And I was like, I'll be happy if we get like a 207 IGT, but we'll take a 205.
Hey, that just means we can push this game even more. So.
That is true. That just shows how much more time there is to save in this category. I definitely put more work into flat out any percent with ICW, then no ICW. But yeah, 205.
IWC, Joey. It's not
oh my god, I'm
ICW.
so sorry. I mess that up so often. Okay, but there is one more thing I want to show off. We did do no IWC, but I feel really bad if I didn't get to show it off at least once. I'm going to show off the biggest skip in the game, which is IWC here. I'm going to need some silence here. It is very hard to do, but basically if you hold away from the wall to unwall cling, you can jump boost and then hold against the wall again, and you can just consistently go higher and higher. And we use this to skip 2 major sections of the game. So I'm going to show the one that's the biggest that skips the work permit here.
Don't forget to put on a wall cling assist.
That is true.
Yeah.
I almost didn't. Yeah,
Don't worry,
yeah,
just a reminder, just a reminder.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm going to need some silence here. And there we go, that's it. And we got up and over the wall just like
Let's go!
Yeah, that skips having to do that whole Terranium Town section where we got the work permit. And then Joey would have to reload the game here in order to not have it soft lock later on.
Yeah. But there you go, that was Disney Illusion Island. Thank you, Puffy, for joining me for this commentary as well, as a fellow runner. And once again, thank you so much, Fast Play Center, for allowing this to be the first showcase of this run, because again, it's super fitting. I'm hoping this game gets more time to shine in other marathons, so more people can pick it up and try running it.